Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Today, we're going to talk about the reset. Some call it the global currency reset. I think it's a lot simpler than most people think, and I'll tell you why later on. Before I do, though, I'd like to thank all the new subscribers we're getting. A relatively big amount of new subscribers of recent. And if you enjoy my channel, make sure, if you haven't yet, to subscribe, to share all my videos, and to like my videos, of course, if you like it. The other thing I would say, I'd like to thank all of you who have been with the channel for a day or for years, for all your support. And if you want to help the channel, there are many ways in which you can, by using our affiliates and other ways. And you can find out about that in the description of all my videos. So, reset, global currency reset. I've spoken about this a lot over the years. So have people like Lynette Zhang of ITM Trading. She has spoken a lot about the reset. And it seems that a lot of you now are more interested. And it's natural because things are getting very, how can I say, disruptive, not just in the financial system, in the bond markets, but also monetary-wise. We're seeing a lot of non-Western countries buy gold, a lot of gold, actually, in the last 2 years. I said, though, in the beginning of this video that we need to keep it simple. Yeah, it's the old adage about Occam's razor. I think, the simplest answer or solution to a problem is usually the right one. So I want to start actually with the dictionary to look at the word reset. Well, there isn't even a word reset. There's a word set. So reset is really to set again. So, but let's look at what my Merriam-Webster dictionary says about set. To place, to cause to sit, to settle, to decree. That's an important one, I think, in this context of the currency reset. To cause to be or do, to arrange, to adjust, to fix in a frame. So a reset is just to redo all those things, to redecree, to refix. So the other book I want to reference today is this one here. It's a guidebook of United States coins. It's a great book. It's the official red book. I got the 2024 edition. I think it's the 77th edition, and you can get one too. It's got all the history of all United States coins. And what's this got to do with the reset? Well, we need to go to the beginning of the dollar, of the monetary system in the United States and even in the colonies to really learn about what a reset in terms of the currency is. So on page 12 here, it says the beginnings of United States coinage. Throughout the years from 1620 to 1776, colonists were forced to rely on numerous European coins and denominations that had been converted to some common value to facilitate transactions. Further compounding this mathematical obstacle was the variation of values from one colony to another. Merchants became accustomed to using the Spanish dollar and its fractional parts, the real, the medio, half real, and other similar denominations. And even the eighth, and they used to chop the Spanish dollar into 8 pieces. They were called pieces of 8 or a bit. In time, those coins became familiar and became more familiar to them than the Old English coins, which were always scarce. It was only natural, therefore, that when a national coinage was under consideration, a dollar-sized coin was the first choice. Spanish silver dollar. So what I'm trying to say here, we need to look at silver as well as the base of the monetary system, and gold, of course, as well. And I'm also going to talk about Ripple today. Many of you ask about XRP, and I'll come to that later. Because all prices today, which are denominated in fiat dollars, derive their value originally from gold and silver. And that's why gold and silver is so important. That's why I'm going through this. So I'm going to skip here to the part where we get, I think, the first setting of the system. Alexander Hamilton, then Secretary of the Treasury, reported his views on monetary matters on January 21st, 1791. He concurred in all essentials with the decimal subdivisions and multiples of the dollar contained in the earlier resolutions, and urged the use of both gold and silver in U.S. standard money, not currency, money. Congress passed a resolution on March 3rd, 1791, that a mint be established and authorized President Washington to engage artists and procure machinery for the making of coins. No immediate steps were taken, but when Washington delivered his third annual address, he recommended immediate establishment of a mint. On April 2nd, 1792, a bill was finally passed providing that the money of account, not the currency, of the United States should be expressed in dollars or units, disms, which is dimes, or tenths, cents, or hundreds, and mils, or thousands. A dime being the 10th part of a dollar, a cent, 100th part of a dollar, and a mil, the thousandth part of a dollar. Denominations specified in the act were as follows. So this is the first setting of U.S. money. The gold eagle value, $10. Grains, 247 and 4/8 grain pure. You can find out the how many grains there are per troy ounce, but I think it's let's see, if the gold eagle is 10, it's probably somewhere in the 500 grains or something. You can Google it. The standard though for the whole coin was 270 grains because it was 90% gold. So I've got here, as you can see, all the settings of the monetary system. So it was decreed, of course, by the Coinage Act of 1792. Was it done out of thin air? Did they just pick out a number out of a hat? No, it was based on custom. It was based on the old European coins, like the Spanish dollar. And ever since then, this is what the dollar is. And of course, it's been completely detached from gold and silver. So what I'm trying to say here, a reset is just setting a new value. So I'm going to go back now historically to where we've had a reset. And there were some resets in the 1800s to the value of the coinage, but they're very tiny and they weren't huge resets. I'm going to come more to the modern 20th century resets that we've had. Well, I would say the first big reset, and it was an official reset. It wasn't done by the markets because, as we see, money is a weight of value, right? Gold or silver. It shouldn't be changed, just like the inch or the kilo or the pound. So the first reset, I would say, was a big reset, was in 1934. And that happened, of course, after 1933 when FDR confiscated all the gold. He signed into law the Executive Order 6102 banning the ownership of gold. At the time, gold was money. $20.67 represented an ounce of gold. And he stopped all that. And then he reset the system without the gold, of course, but he revalued the price of gold with the United States Gold Reserve Act of January 30th, 1934. And he revalued the troy ounce to $35. Every troy ounce of gold became $35. So that was an official reset. Didn't do it very democratically. It wasn't done through an act of Congress like the Coinage Act of 1792. And the next reset, I would say, was at Bretton Woods, and that was an international reset. It was the creation of the Bretton Woods system in July of 1944. And the other major currencies of the world were set against or reset against the dollar and gold. The dollar was a fixed weight of gold, of course, $35, 1 troy ounce. And the other currencies were fixed against the dollar, so indirectly against gold. So that was the second reset, but it was an international one. And then we get, I would say, the third big reset, and it actually wasn't a reset. It was a dropping of the fixed. It was the dropping really of a real monetary system. We went into a floating, technically first we went off gold, August 15th, 1971. And then if you look further, they try to keep the dollar fixed to an amount of gold, but that was impossible if you close the gold window. So according to this article here, Brief History of the Gold Standard in the United States, I'm going to put it below in the link. It says what happened here after 1971. After a series of negotiations, the Smithsonian Agreement was reached in December of 1972, by which the dollar would be devalued from $35 per troy ounce to $38. So there's another reset there, while several other countries revalued their currencies upwards. This new value was made official by an act of Congress in March 1972. But then there was another reset in 1973. The new $42.22 par value was made official in September 1973. But this never worked, because if you're not going to really allow participants in a monetary system to convert the currency into gold, it doesn't work. So it went floating. So ever since 1973, the dollar and all the other currencies have been floating against each other, which is really, in my opinion, an abomination. It's like being able to trade the length of an inch, the meter every day. So what I'm trying to say here, the resets now are going to be done by the market. So when did we have a next big reset? It was in 1980 when gold went up to like almost $900 per troy ounce. And at that time, and I spoke to David Morgan the other day, he said that the amount of gold the US had officially was became the value twice the amount of the money supply. So that was basically, you could back the money supply twice at 850. And it's not surprising gold eventually dropped to around 400 throughout the 80s. That was the first really market reset, I would say. And the other indicator you need to look at for a reset, I would say, is the Dow Gold ratio. In 1980, we went back to 1-to-1. In 1929, when the Dow crashed, we had the stock market crash. By the end of 1932, 33, just before the official reset, the Dow gold ratio got down to around 2. So keep an eye on the Dow as well for more for the financial reset. So what I'm trying to say here is that the reset has been happening, in my opinion, ever since the year 2000. And why is that? Well, because the Dow gold ratio got to a really high value of 42 and gold bottomed around 250. And ever since then, the value of gold has been going up by about 10%, or just over 9% on average versus all the major currencies. So the reset is ongoing, and it's been done through gold and silver to some extent. But some of you might want to know, when is there going to be a final reset? Well, I'm sure we'll hear from the authorities, and it will be at a level where gold, silver, even the Dow are at a value where they can restart the system again. And I think we're close, of course. So what would I look for in a reset? Well, maybe comparing the value of all gold reserves to M1 or M2, or even to the Fed's balance sheet. I think in 1980, all the value gold certificates in the Fed's balance sheet were valued over 100% if you took the price of gold. So you can look at that. Look at the Dow gold ratio. I actually believe we're going to go to 1-to-1, and it might sound outrageous, but I think that will be a good indicator. What about Ripple, XRP? Well, Ripple, of course, is a ledger created by the bankers, supposedly. Matthew Mellon. He was from the Mellon family. I think one of his ancestors was Secretary of the Treasury in the 1920s. And this is what he said just before he died in 2018. He said, "Crypto is scary and dark. It's anti-America," says Mellon 54. "I'm pro-America, pro-business, and pro-bank. That's why I went to Ripple." They might very well use XRP or Ripple in a new system, but more for transacting, more for the architecture of the currency. But you might want to have Ripple. I don't have any. I have had some in the past. I think I still have about 50 Ripples, but that's about it. But what I'm trying to say here, gold and silver are still the most important monetary assets to have in order to reset things. And why do I think that? Why not crypto? Well, because as you saw here, gold and silver are the dollar. So if you're going to revalue or reset something in a final basis, and I say final because I think we've been setting things every year unofficially through the market. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to do it through what gave references to all the prices we use today. And this is what Rafi Faber talks about. The dollar is still, the fiat dollar is still based on gold and silver. Of course, it's losing a lot of value. So if you're going to reset the whole system, you have to do it through gold and silver. And that's why I hold gold and silver and try to accumulate more, because I think the reset usually devalues currencies, right? So if it devalues currencies, it revalues gold and silver, as we've seen through history. So there you go. That's my view of the GCR, or global currency reset, or reset. And with that, let's quickly look at where the markets are this morning. It's 8:32 a.m. London time. We got spot gold at 2001. It's up $3. High's been 2006, low 1995. Silver's up 10 cents at 23.82. High's been 96, low 71. Dow futures up 60. Nasdaq is unchanged. S&P is up 3. To the currencies, sterling is down 0.2 at 125.16. The euro is unchanged at 109. The dollar is up 0.5% versus the yen, 149.15. The dollar's up 0.2 versus the yuan at 715.62. Aussie dollar is down a third at 65.30. The dollar is up a tenth versus the Canadian dollar, 137.15. Kiwi dollar is down 0.5% at 60.18. To the commodities, WTI crude is unchanged, 77.82. Brent as well, 82.50. It's unchanged. Platinum is unchanged at 936. And high-grade copper is down 0.75% at 381.60. Let's just quickly look at where the 10-year yield is. U.S. Treasury 10-year yield. Well, that's at 440, down 2 basis points. So there you go. With that, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.